Hi, stamping friends. It's Marilyn here at Stamping Creations with Marilyn in Spruce Grove, Alberta, Canada. Welcome to my Tuesday afternoon stamping. I have posted a list of a picture of the card I'm going to make and the dimensions of what I've used, so hopefully some of you have got your stuff ready and you will join in with me and we'll be creating together. I have a few other items to show you first off. A couple things happening here and a couple things happening with Stampin' Up. So I am going to take the time to switch the camera down to my desktop and we'll get started. Picture of the far side of my room. And as I get my stand twisted, turned over here, you can see a few things on my desktop, and I will try to quit shaking that. Move that a little bit, and let's see what's happening. All looks good there. So, to begin with, thank you again for joining, and hopefully we can create this together, and I really would appreciate if you do create with me, that you end up, oh, moved that the wrong way, sorry guys, sharing your creation in the comments in this post afterwards, because I love seeing what everybody does. First off, with reference to last week's draws, those will be the last draws that I will be doing. As some of you I know follow Joanne and Lily and I, all three of us, and we have been told that we shouldn't be doing the draws for comments and shares. So because I was still doing that last week, I have made the draws. And the winner of the share prize, the Bird Ballad trinkets, which are little metal, try and hold them so you can see them, metal pieces to put on your card that coordinate with the Bird Ballad set. That winner is Bonnie R. And the card we made last week, which you can still go see if you did miss out on it, is this one, which is a fancy fold. I'm really into fancy fold cards this week. That's the one we made last week. And the draw for comments that I've done there is going to go to Faye M. And this is the card I will be sending her, done in the Christmas papers. So thank you for that, and I do appreciate if you will still do the comments and shares, because I enjoy seeing what people like and comment and what they've made, but I just won't be able to do the draws anymore. So if you can do that, that would be great. I have one more week in October, like the rest of you, obviously. So my host code until the end of the week will be this one. If you're ordering from my site for orders under $200, I appreciate you using it. I do still have, going strong, my 12 weeks of Christmas. Those are emails that go out exclusively to those on my email list, and those go out every Wednesday. So you can still sign up for my newsletter and get in on the rest of those. And I'd really appreciate having you there. There are lots of tips and tricks and things that I share in that newsletter, and would love to have you take part in that as well. So you can find that either on my website, or there is links obviously through my Facebook page to get there as well. And you can always message me if you have any questions on that. So moving right along, again, last week of October means we have one more week in this designer series paper sale. 15% off on 15 different designs. One of them we will be using today, and that is this one, Trimming the Town designer paper. It has people, houses, words. These are sheets that we lots of us demonstrators put together when we get the new paper, so it shows both sides of the designer paper, and it shows the coordinating colors here. So the sample I posted and the one that I did a few days ago is using the Misty Moonlight. The one today I'm going to use the Poppy Parade, so you can see how those colors are just amazing with it. So I'll just go through, make sure that you can see what I'm showing. Go through the sheets that I have made up so you get an idea of what's on sale. And 15% off is a pretty good deal in this day and age. The plaid tidings does come 6x6, lots of coordinating colors. And because there are so many different ones here, they're not squares. We've got triangles showing all the different sides. Lots of them for masculine, not just Christmas that we're using, but lots for Christmas as well. The toll tidings is in the green and the red, which that card that you saw earlier, that's going to out to Faye is done with the red. Bonnie had also done one in the green from the same class. Different shades of, no, that is still the real red. Heartwarming Hugs is another one with different greens and red. I've used lots of that. This one, again, wouldn't have thought to bring in Highland Heather, but it does go well with it. So lots of more watercolory backgrounds on these, but snowflakes galore. In Good Taste is a double pack. So you have extra in that one. 15% off though. Again, a great deal. Lots of earthy tones. More of your wood designer, and even some pinks in it. It has petal pink and rococo rose in that particular one. I'm flipping by this one because the specialty papers are not on the 15% off. Whale of a Time has, again, lots of different colors, lots of different pieces of designer paper in this package, so it has just the triangle cut again to show them. I have, if I can reach it, a gorgeous card done in that paper. So you can see all you need is designer paper to do the work. Playful Pets, another great one with your color selections, but your reds, pinks, blues, not blues, black, and your browns to go with your pets. Peony Garden is the grays, pinks, and whites. Very subtle and soft for that one. And Playing with Patterns paper. Bright colors, geometric, but great background papers there. Flowers for Every Season. Flowers, obviously, with some title like that. Again, your greens. Didn't have circles or colors on that one. Must have missed that. And Artistry Blooms. Again, bright colors to use for backgrounds or punched out images. 'Tis the Season designer paper. Very Christmassy colors, but also some plaids and just background greens and reds. Forever Greenery. Beautiful, beautiful greens. And I'm not a green person, I'll be the first to mention that, but this I love. All the different combinations, and I did a sample of the different colors that were in there. Pardon me, allergies bothering me here. And Poinsettia Place is the last but not least paper with the poinsettias on it that we've had. So if you've been looking at those, like I say, the 15% is a great deal. So let's get on to the card that I want to show you. So, pardon me. This card was designed by, well, I watched the video by Diana Gibbs, a great demonstrator out of the US. And it's made with one piece of cardstock, 8 3. Well, hers was a little bigger, but my envelopes, it didn't fit, so I had to trim it down. But it's made to stand up on your mantle, your counter, and it's got a place where you can write. your greeting, I have adhered on this one some of the cutout pieces from the designer paper and made a scene. So the scene, I added the car, I added the words, I added the sparkling snowflakes, and otherwise just used the paper. So that Trim the Town paper, Trimming the Town designer paper, has some great options. So I thought I would share that with you today. And I did just cut out a house. I don't, pardon me, I did not buy the stamp set or the dies for this one, but I used my handy dandy paper snips to do most of it. So what I have asked you to have ready, if you're going to create with me, and hopefully you will, is a piece of cardstock that is 8 3/4 by 8 1/2. And if you put the 8 1/2 side of the paper in your scoring tool and score at 2, 4, 6, and 8, you will have what you need to make your box. And like I say, on on Diana's, she had it at 9 by 8 1/2, but when I went to my envelope, it is 9, so I needed to make mine a little bit shorter, which seems to have worked out. So once you have that, you will score it on those score lines, or fold it on those score lines. And I think this just, like I say, was really a neat way to use that designer paper, because it makes a scene. And it's a shame to cut up the designer paper and not keep the scene. So that's what I've done. There are lots of these kind of cards out there. Excuse me. But this one really went together quick and easy. So once you have it, you'll have a 1/2 inch fold along here, and I would recommend using your liquid glue to adhere it, because you've got a little bit of wiggle room, and it will, that one's going to be, I don't know if it's going to squish out, but lay it flat like this when you go to put it together, because if you stand it up and try to match it, it might, depending on your scoring, it might not quite be true, and then it won't be square. So that would be your first step. Then just leave that over there. For the image side that you want to write on, you do need a piece of, well, in my case, Whisper White, because that's what's in the designer paper is white. 8 5/8 by 1 7/8. So that's just a little bit narrower. So you've got a border of your color. And this is, like I said, the Poppy Parade that I am using. So I am going to if I had my ink out here. I'm going to stamp Merry Christmas at the top, and my most difficult part of all of this was finding a stamp that fit the 1 7/8 width. But this little one out of this stamp set, Arrange a Wreath, was perfect. And I probably could have used some of these other little stamps, but I don't have them mounted, and I'm not going to bore you with watching that. So my seam, as you can see, is in the back. So I want my words to be in the back. So I am going to place that on here for my starting point. And again, no reason to bring out any other kind of adhesive, I can use my liquid glue. Just double check where that seam is. And that's just my preference for wanting the seam at the back. I don't think it makes a difference because you can't see the seam when you're done. So hopefully everything is showing up. So then what I did was I cut the designer paper, and I wanted it, when I cut it, to remain, that's the ones where you need 3 pieces, 8 5/8 again for the, whatever your length is, minus an eighth, and 1 7/8 width would be what you'd need across. So you need 3 pieces of that. Now whether you want to use all from one sheet like I did here, or if you want to mix them up, that's your choice. But what I like to do with them was to keep them in the order that I trimmed them, so that when they're on here, they're going to go in that order. So then I attach them, and keeping in mind that most papers, not all of them, but quite a few of them do have an up and down, so you want to make sure they're all going in the right direction. And you can adhere. It's flat when you go to put it on, so it's easy to assemble. If you wanted to use your tape runner, that would work as well. Just not quite as much wiggle room, as we call it, for any last minute changes you might think you have to do. But isn't this neat how when you lay it down, it matches, if you've kept them in the right order. And last but not least will be this one. And there is your card. And like I say, the other thing, I have really enjoyed making these slimline cards that are so popular now. And the last few, I know some of you've probably watched, I do have a Facebook Live, and it's over on my YouTube channel as well, making the cube pop-up card, which is a lot more difficult. And that one, look at it, even matches the roof line and the tree. And there is your card. So I mean, you could send it that way. It does still fit in the envelope. You just lay it flat. And these envelopes, I went out the other day on my way to the dollar store to pick them up, and I had to go to the post office, so I just bought them from the post office. So that's just from the post office. So, and as long as they're not too thick and not too heavy, which I discovered this morning, they will go for one postage stamp. And I've also heard that Canada Post is expecting mail to be a lot busier this year. So if you're like me and you send out lots of Christmas cards, you may want to consider working on those a little sooner instead of later this year. So the paper, like I said, it has words, it has images, and there is a stamp set to go with it if you so desire. But when I looked at this, I thought, okay, I have little wreath. I'm going to attach somewhere here. I've got some words, and I'm just going to use, again, my liquid glue, trying to keep the thickness of this card. I think I'm going to put that one up here. As I'm watching, I think you can still see what I'm doing. And I just trimmed it out with my paper snips. I think it looks okay. I like on this side where my words are, I do like to add something like that. There are lots of words on there that are not English, and because the people that I send my cards to speak English, they might have another language, but they do speak English, I am going to stick to that. And then a Let It Snow one, just a little bit more color. I don't know if I would put that. Actually, again, what you can do, because it's only paper and it's such little pieces, you could trim it like that, add a little bit of glue, and I am going to just, and as always with our Stampin' Up! Papers and inks and everything coordinates, so you know that this green, you also see that I can't cut straight, but it's on there now. This green matches this green because the set is all Stampin' Up! So that's all I'm going to do with that one. I may, as I did on this other envelope, I would probably trim out one of these, maybe one of these little red houses, and put it on there. So just to show you, the other thing that Diana mentioned in her video that I was watching is that if you are trimming with your scissors, leave just a little bit of white, because that's how the dies would cut if you had the dies to cut these out. And it just makes the finished product stand out a little more. You'll notice that, especially cutting these, other than this little notch for the roof line, everything is just straight edges. So there we go. I will put that on this envelope. And it's just kind of neat if you get a happy mail, as we call it, in your post box. It's kind of nice to have it decorated, so you could put that on there. These envelopes don't tend to be big enough on the back there. I would again attach it. And there is my second slimline Christmas card. So hopefully you've enjoyed. I look forward to reading your comments, hearing what you thought. Oh, look at, lucky I have it laying here. These are the adhesive back snowflakes that I put on. And I will attach some of those because I think they add just a bit of sparkle, and we all love sparkle. So I use my scissors as a tweezer, and I'm going to put them on the, I think, the darker areas. The rooftops always end up with snowflakes. One right in the center, like the, whoops, like the wreath. That's the other neat thing about this card, is that you can push it down so that your adhesive is sticking for those. And I'll put one right in the center of that. So just a little bit of glimmer on there. Diana, in her video, also suggested that you might be able to put a battery-operated tea light in it. I do have some. I thought of that, but I realized that we probably wouldn't be able to see the light through unless we did maybe a half circle or whatever and put vellum in it. So that might be a project for another time. So just a couple other cards I would like to share with you that I've received recently, and couple that I've made, but here is one that's done with, it's in the new mini catalog of Life. Can't remember the name of it, but gorgeous, gorgeous way to use it. Different designer paper that's on sale. And the stamps, Life is Beautiful. Thank you, Diana. This one was from Bonnie. And I don't have this set, and she knows that, so I'm sure that's why this was the card that she gave me as a thank you card. But with the poinsettia, she has cut out the petals and the leaves that go behind it and sponged on the edges of them, and using the vellum, the flocked vellum on the back, and some silver sprigs there, along with the triple pearls in the center. Gorgeous. Thanks, Bonnie. This is one that I made with the plaid paper that's on sale and the Freeze and Fun stamp set. So I will be highlighting this one next week in my Tuesday Facebook Live. Added just a little bit of the paper on the envelope there. And this is another set I don't have, but I attended a class where we made this with the dove and the, can't remember that name either, but it is another paper that's not on sale because it has the gold in it. But very, very easy when you've got the dies. Just put it together, add your words, and away you go for another Christmas card. So thanks for joining me. Hopefully you have, I've inspired you to try making some of these, and like I said, would really appreciate you sharing them if you do. And I'll look for your comments. Comment to everyone who has commented to me, and I will post this on my YouTube channel. Appreciate it if you would subscribe to that as well, and carry on following me, and we'll keep creating and having fun together. Thank you, everyone. Take care.